Hi, everybody, and welcome back to I Will Go Down with the Ship. My name is Heather,
And I'm Chelsea.
and today we are going to dissect episode 3. But before we jump in, we had a question slash comment from our last episode, and we want to definitely address that. If anyone has any questions or comments or theories, or like you want to ask us stuff, feel free to leave us comments. We love that kind of stuff. So this comment is from Cuddlefish. First of all, thank you so much for dropping it. It is a very, very big comment, so we are going to take it piece by piece. Chelsea, why don't you start us off, just basically talking about the first thing that the commenter says is, I'm surprised that you didn't explore deeper on the fact that Cooper and Lucy pretty much had their first big fight before the shit show in the hospital. So let's dissect that if you want to jump in first.
Right. Well, obviously they've been fighting since they met each other, but the tone is different this season. Let's be perfectly clear about that. There's a feeling of exasperated fondness behind the fighting a little bit, and there's an implicit kind of trust there that they have with each other, even before this. Mm, Communication breakdown
Yeah.
in the hospital, let's say. And, I'm just going to say it. It's very passive aggressive married couple energy. Like you've been around each other for so long, which again brings me back to I want to know how long that they've been traveling together before we got to see them in episode one, because there's been a lot of energetic development
Yeah.
between them. And this is very married couple. I'm not speaking with you right now because I just can't deal with you passive aggressive energy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that I loved watching the communication breakdown because it reminds me so much of a married couple. I think Ella called them a married couple multiple times in interviews and stuff like that. They remind her of like an old married couple. I could be wrong. The interviews
Right.
blur together. Um, but in terms of us not picking up on like it being their big fight, I think the big issue that me and Chelsea have is that because, and we're just estimating based on potential, like they're getting sidetracked with bullshit, plus the logistics of actually walking to Las Vegas from Santa Monica. That's about 10 days on a good, we're walking 18 hours a day kind of thing. So I think Chelsea and I are estimating that they've probably been traveling together for about 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more at this point. And like Chelsea mentioned, I think that because there's this exasperated fondness and also this trust. I mean, we clearly see that at the very least, Cooper trusts Lucy to shoot the rope. And he would never put himself in such a vulnerable position if he did not trust her. That they've kind of argued out their differences off the screen. And this is one of the issues, like I mentioned, that Chelsea and I had because we wanted to see those arguments. We wanted to see how they've established their roles in this dynamic that they have. I think that the argument that they do have in the like on the way to the hospital, I think it's really funny because I think that Lucy makes really excellent points about why are you such a dick? I'm sure your family's not going to want you to be such a dick. And the fact that he let her talk about his family, I think is a huge thing because I would have assumed that he would have been like, don't fucking talk about my family. Like, don't bring them up. I don't want to talk about them. So in terms of us sort of like not touching on it, I think that it's just because we've assumed that they've had these fights already. And we've seen them clearly in season one arguing all the time. Like they have had a lot of fights, but like Chelsea mentioned, the tone is very different. It's more exasperated affection, but also familiar. Like we've had this argument before, or we've discussed, like, I just see like Cooper every time Lucy's ready to go sidetrack and save someone, Cooper's literally just like, rolling his eyes and but he follows her. Like this is nothing new for him. So I think that's something why we didn't really go into that. Um, So yeah, like I think that let's see what else. That he cannot be trusted. He also used another person as a human shield, and in her worldview, that was unforgivable. Yeah, I agree with that. That like Cooper using the tunic as a human shield is just like that pissed Lucy off because of his complete disregard for human life. And I think that's one of the lessons that she has to learn. Um, and I think that Lucy desperately wants to change Cooper because deep down, I think she even mentions, I can't remember what episode, but even she mentions that, you pretend the hope is gone, but the hope is still in there, or else basically you wouldn't be chasing after a family 200 years after, they've disappeared. Um, so I think she desperately wants him to be this good guy that she believes he is, instead of just accepting him for who he is right now in this moment. And I think that, especially with everything that happens in episode 3, and then of course, episode 4 was Chef's Kiss, I think that we really see her realize that not the world is not black and white. Sometimes you need to be addicted to drugs to save your life. Like sometimes it just needs to happen. So
Right.
um so in terms of that, I think that she's grieving the loss of her identity, the loss of the way that she was raised, and she's desperately clinging to this notion of how people should be. Not just Cooper, but the way this tunic is supposed to be. And it's easy for her to lash out to Cooper because there is that trust between them. Because she does trust that he can be cruel and a monster and all of those things, but at the same time, she's comfortable enough to lash out, even though she's seen what he can do and how dismissive of life he can be. Now, whether that means she trusts that he won't hurt her because she represents something to him, or that she's an ends to a means, that's up for debate. But I think it does speak to their relationship that she's comfortable being that honest and being kind of a dick to him, basically, in that moment. But Chelsea,
I,
yeah, go ahead.
I really love that she's kind of in this season really giving as good as she gets
Yeah,
from him
yeah.
with the being a dick, and like the report is sharper and snappier, and you don't talk to a person that like that you are not comfortable with
Mhm.
unless you wish said person to like exit your life. And I don't think that's the case for Lucy at all. So it does show a massive level of comfort between the two of them,
I
that she feels comfortable enough to like call him on his shit
oh,
and call him higher,
uh,
honestly.
I absolutely agree. Because, I mean, we see it in that moment in the hospital. He literally kills the dude and he uses the tunic as a human shield. If he completely disregarded Lucy's life, he could have used Lucy as a human shield and given her the stim pack. There's nothing that says he cannot overpower her. He's Cooper Howard. He is a powerful bounty hunter. So I just think that she trusts him not to hurt her or to kill her. And he obviously trusts her too. Okay, so Chelsea, let's jump into the next part where about Norm. So the commenter wants to know what our expectations for Norm is as a story writer, because at the moment they can't seem to point their finger to what they plan to do with him, and they're worried that he will become a mirror to his father, or they're just going to waste his arc. And part of this commenter says, there's a 50-50 chance that they make him find or run into Janie and Barb on accident in some shape or form. So what do you think about that?
I think episode 4 really did inform that, and I think there is a high probability that he is going to run into Janie and Barb, but we will get to that more in episode 4. Like, I don't want to get
Yeah.
ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a high probability of that. What I hope and what I would try to do personally as a writer is make Norm everything that Hank could have been,
Mhm.
and really like show these qualities that yes, Norm inherited from Hank, but show them in a more heroic light. I really don't want Norm to end up being a shitbag like Hank.
I don't think I don't think that he would be, just based on everything we know of him from season one and his arc, because I think, like you said, I think it's like Hank has always been ambitious. He was Barb's, I think, executive assistant. So he was kind of like Barb was his boss. Um, and I think that he's always sort of not only wanted the power, but I mean, even though he's kind of like we see him now working on, the little machine, the neck, mind control thing. And he's still, it almost feels like he's working for someone and he doesn't mind the role that he's in. I think when it comes to Norm has never wanted power. He has never been ambitious. Um, and I think that he's almost forced to take a leadership role in order to like understand the truth. And so I feel like his arc is more about, do you want to kind of stay in the safety of the vault, or do you want to actually learn the truth, not only about the world around you, but about your family? And it's almost in a way similar to Lucy's arc, but they're going about it in very different ways because Lucy has always been a leader. She's always done her duty. She's always followed the rules. Norm wasn't like that. Norm had to be moved around because he didn't really get along well with others because he's so damn smart and he just doesn't have patience for everyone's bullshit. But now he's going to be forced to have patience in order to work with these vaulties who have so much more knowledge about the world before him and yet be so naive about the world that's going on right now. And so he has to sort of like what he mentioned to Bud Askins in episode one, he has to get this chaos under control. And I think that I mean, it could be clear, like it could be that he does take a villain arc. I just don't think that they're going to do it. I think it's more of Hank or Lucy and Norm are going to do things sort of the right way in complete contrast to Hank, even though Hank clearly loves his kids and thinks he's doing the wrong thing, but for the right reasons, like Shady Sands, like all of that stuff. So that's kind of how I see Norm as of right now. In terms of finding Janie and Barb, that would be extremely interesting, especially depending on how Barb presents herself. And so, in a way, like that would like if Cooper actually trusts Lucy enough to tell him the truth about, who he is and all of that, and you have Barb over here telling Norm something very different, and when they meet, you have brother sister who do trust each other and who do love each other. You're gonna be put them in a very interesting position of like, who do I trust? Do I trust my brother who, like all that would be a very intriguing point. Um, but yeah, I
Right.
mean, that would be interesting.
It could also be really fun to watch like the panic spiral while they compare notes.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, in terms of Norm, we both love Norm. Honestly, like the romantic in me wants him to find a girl who kind of pushes him and challenges him. And like, I don't know, helps him develop in that way. Not that he needs to. I'm not, trying to make everything into romance, but I would just like that because I like him so much. Um,
Right. Well, and as romance writers, like I feel like we have a tendency to romanticize everything, and like some people really don't like that, but fucking sue me. Like I'm a romance writer. I've been a shipper for like my whole life in
yes.
fandoms. I'm never gonna stop romanticizing things, and I'm not fucking sorry.
No.
Let's just be really clear on
Yeah.
that.
Um, so yeah, so that's our take on that. And then um they continue I firmly believe Max might choose a brotherhood after his own ideals over Lucy in some form or fashion in the show. I like that Max takes on a more self-assured role in season two, but I don't think he is anything close to a mastermind. I agree with that. I think it was Dane or another third party that notified the Commonwealth chapter. That being said, the Commonwealth guy was very weird, and I love the theory that he might have been a synth because he calls the clerics cockroaches and not radroaches, which is a really good point. And it's weird, but hey, maybe the education and vocabulary is different in the Brotherhood. Um, I I agree. I don't know. Max is interesting, especially after watching episode 4. Obviously we're not going to get into episode, but what do you think, Chelsea? Do you think Max might choose the Brotherhood after his own ideals over Lucy in the show? Like if he had to
I
choose,
I think I could see Max choosing himself over Lucy and like his own growth and him like stepping into this role of leaving the world a little better place than how he found it, like his father taught him,
yeah.
you know?
No, I
And like
agree.
I could see him choosing that and that ideal over Lucy.
I could also see him taking on a role within the Brotherhood community, but like reshaping the Brotherhood in the similar way that his dad sort of helped
With
reshape
Shady Sands.
Shady Sands. Only because I feel like, and we'll get into it when we discuss episode 3, but I feel like Max is just his whole life, he's just been told what to do. And he's earnest and genuine, but somehow, even when he tries to do the right thing, he does the wrong thing. And
Right.
it's sort of like,
This poor kid cannot catch a break.
yeah,
And addressing the part in the comment where they don't think that Max was a mastermind or reached out to the Commonwealth, upon watching episode 4, I would agree that it was probably Dane or
yeah,
someone else. And I lean hard to Dane
I,
because Dane is very much a moral compass.
yeah. Um, and so I just think that with Max, I think that, yeah, I think that he would choose the Brotherhood, but not the Brotherhood as we know it right now. More like a reshaped version of it with Dane, with the Codex, like following the Codex. Um,
But
and
also altering the codex and like making people realize that like not all ghouls are bad and there's never any excuse to kill
yeah,
children,
right.
whether they're ghouls or not.
Yes. And sort of reshaping the civilization through morals that aren't being, misconstrued or taken advantage of, or, oh, when it's convenient, I'm going to ignore what the codex says in order to get more power or wealth or power fusions or whatever. So I do, and I think that Lucy would accept that choice with understanding. I think I would hope that they end this as friends who respect each other and they have a responsibility and a duty to other groups or other people. I think that Max, especially watching him interact in episode 2 with a kid and like telling him we have to take our problems and make them smaller and, that sort of thing. I really see him taking on a leadership and a mentorship role. It's just a matter of getting like having more confidence in who he is and not needing, anyone, Quintus, whatever, even to a degree, Dane. I
To
want to
tell him what to do. I want to see him
exactly.
make his own decisions and really grow into himself.
Yeah, to define what he wants in terms of his own morality and what he truly believes in. And I think it's like what you said, Chelsea. It's going to go back to let's leave the world a better place. Now, that's an interesting, ominous kind of thing. Does that mean that Max winds up making a sacrifice?
Oh, don't put that on my heart,
I know,
ma'am.
right? That would wreck me. But I mean, that would be a very interesting narrative device that they used, which
It
would
would.
line up with everything.
Yeah, and it
Um,
would be like a beautifully heartbreaking callback to his father, but I will be pissed if it happens.
right. So anyway, so I think that that wraps up the comment. Again, thank you so much. It was such a detailed comment. It was really fun to sort of break that down. And if anyone has any other theories or comments that they want us to discuss, please, we love that stuff. Like, let us, like, give it to us. Like, we're here for all of it. So, with that being said, we're gonna jump into the episode. The um, help me pronounce
Profligate.
this. Profligate. Yes. I loved it. We see Thaddeus. Like we open with Thaddeus. I already know it's gonna be a great episode. Like that's my bae. I love him. And it's like
He's
it's
so
so
damn funny. I love it.
he's perfect. He's literally like Thaddeus. Um, so I just thought it was such an interesting, like, again, it's the world building. It's like we see that there are kid ghouls And we see that there are regular ghouls and they're just working together and Thaddeus is in charge of them. And you know what? Thaddeus does a damn good job. Like I was like, you know what? You're good.
Right.
Thaddeus, you're great with kids. Good job. Um, I just
I was impressed. I was very impressed. I'm
I
not gonna lie.
was too. Yeah. Like he's giving these kids advice, he's helping them. I mean, yes, are the shifts child labor resistant? Yes, absolutely 100%, but this is the wastelands. There's a different type of morality. Um and he's teaching the kid how to open the bottles with his hand. When one of the girls is pouting and he's like, "Why aren't you making money for me?" And he handles that. Like he's doing a lot of conflict resolution.
Right.
And like, they're talking about like Thaddeus, who is supposed to be this monster, this abomination. And he's basically like, hey, there's nothing wrong with being a ghoul, except you're not a ghoul. And there's nothing wrong with being a smooth skin, And it's just funny because you have these quote unquote monsters who are actually giving good advice and being more moral than the Brotherhood. Um,
Yep. Who would call them abominations? Like, come on now.
And I love that Thaddeus is just a sunshine. Like he's like, guys, we have a roof over our head. We could be like dead right now, but we're not.
Right. Like most kids are dead by this
Yeah.
age.
So, and then he sends everyone back to work. And so I just thought that was great. And then the scene flashes and we get Lucy. I love this. I love this because Lucy just can't help herself. Miss Smarty Pants over here. Um, I don't know. I just love that they call him Kaiser and they
Right.
don't realize it. And she's like educating them, like history teacher over here is just telling them, no, you're wrong. You're not Kaiser, you're Caesar. I just thought that was so funny.
That was hilarious.
And then they are just okay. First of all, can we just give like McCulkin like perfect? Like I loved it. I thought
Yeah.
it was great. He was great. Macaulay Culkin was great. What did you think,
Macaulay
Chelsea?
Culkin was freaking excellent. I was so excited. He played it so well. Like,
His
it
face,
just
like when she's like, by the way, I'm not even a virgin, and the list of cousin stuff that I like, his face was just like perfect.
good. It was excellent.
Like even the Legion is judging her for the cousin stuff. Like I just love that that seems to be this wasteland theme of like there's a lot of weird like there's a chicken fucker over here, but incest that's where we're gonna draw the line. Like I
Yep,
just thought that was so funny.
that's the hard no. And I like it is hysterical to me that there's that judgment
Yeah.
about that.
I have a question for you, and this could just be because I don't play the video games or I'm not quite familiar with the lore of the world. Why do they kill the woman? Why do they kill the tunic lady?
I'm not entirely sure. I have not played Fallout New Vegas. I haven't had a lot to do with Caesar's Legion
Okay.
uh in the games, but I know that they're slavers
Yeah.
and um she like it could be that she compromised their position, something of that nature,
Yeah,
but
because I'm
I'm
trying to
not
figure
entirely.
out
Oh
like,
no, no, no. I remember why, and they say
oh,
it in the show. It's because she got her whatever, like the dude that was with her killed.
oh, okay, that makes sense. Because I'm just like, okay, because she came back, so it's not like she was running away from this group. So the ghoul got her back to okay. Anyway, so fucking Mackay Culkin's all like, "Hey, we're negotiating the rights to your prima noctis," and I'm just assuming it's who gets to fuck her, right? Essentially,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah,
Your first night, and it's a medieval ritual
yeah,
type thing where the
and I love
technically it would be like the leader of wherever the hell you are
right.
gets to fuck you before whoever ultimately gets you.
Um, I love that she's like, as much as I want to respect your traditions, no, Lucy, certain traditions we don't need to respect. Like, and even she says
Right.
there's a line to all of that, but I'm like, Lucy, like, no, there are certain traditions we can say fuck off to. Um,
Yes.
And then she's like
For
proud, like I'm not even a virgin. And it makes me wonder, like, is she talking, is her first time with her husband? Because obviously they don't have sex with the cousins. There's cousin stuff, but that's not actual intercourse, right? Am I remembering?
unless they use protection.
I guess that's true.
Because
Um,
like I guarantee you they have prophylactics
oh,
in the
for
bottle,
sure.
sure.
But
But
then,
like I don't know if like if
well,
she did like how far she went with Chet before she had that night with her
I
husband.
don't think she went because it says, and that's not including all of the cousin stuff I did, which is at least a page or two on my resume.
Right. Which
So
I
that,
just like, can we just talk about how hysterically funny that fucking line is?
oh
Like,
yeah.
gold star to whoever wrote that line.
Well, and the fact that she's so proud of it, like I'm just like Lucy, oh Lucy, like anyway,
But I do love that she's like, fuck you,
yeah,
claiming her
exactly.
agency and is like, like, I'm not a virgin. This is my body. Like, whatever. Fuck you
Yes,
guys and your traditions.
right.
And I love that for her.
I love it for her too. And so we kind of get a little bit of world building. I guess it's interesting. This whole episode's theme seems to be about war, but a lot of civil war. So they discuss that, the Legion is at war with the New California Republic, the Khans, the Brotherhood, and that they have to conquer the members of Caesar's Legion, but over there. There are two apparently legions and two kind of like fighting over who is actually inheriting
Caesar.
Caesar and this land. Which I think is very thematic, like inheritance and responsibility and stuff like that.
And
I think
legacy.
and legacy, yep, that's a good one. And like followers, like who do they follow? I think this is very mirrored in the Brotherhood and what's going on with them. And I just love Lucy so much. Like, hey, I can help you. Like, sometimes conflict resolution is easier than you think, like,
Mhm.
and then it's like, nope, nope, we're gonna put you on a cross. So you can correct me if I'm wrong. I thought that they legitly actually crucified people. Like, I thought that it was gonna, like, I thought that they raped, they crucified, like, I thought it was gonna be bad. And I'm not saying what happened to Lucy wasn't bad, but it almost felt like
It's not as bad as I was expecting it to be by
I
a long
agree.
shot.
I agree. Like after season one, everyone was talking about, oh, the Legion, that's like pretty messed up, pretty bad, like very, medieval Roman traditions. And I just felt like, okay, hanging her up on a cross, not even nailing her up on a cross. Like to me, it felt like the stakes weren't as high as it could have.
Right?
Not to say that I needed it to be super dramatic, but why do that to Lucy and not slit her throat? Like that's what I'm kind of confused
Right?
about.
Or like, why not wound her in some way while she's on the cross so she's like slowly and painfully bleeding out?
Right. Or
There
even
are options.
why not have sex with her? Right? Why not sell her as like she to me and the way that it was presented to me, she has all of her teeth. She's a very pretty looking girl. And she's well read and educated. She would be like the perfect person that you would sell as a slave to somebody. And this is why Cooper does
Right?
it in season one because she has a lot of parts. Why are they taking someone like her when they could use her for something and then just sticking her up on the cross, like, and I guess waiting for her to die that way? It just to me that doesn't make sense. And I do get it, like we're not trying to like have super high stakes right now. I think everyone kind of knew at the end of season 2 or episode 2 that Cooper was going to go save her. And so we kind of needed to wrap it up. But to me, it took away a lot of those stakes about who the Legion is and how dangerous they are because it felt
Right.
like there was no real threat to Lucy. And I think as a writer, I kind of had an issue with that.
Absolutely.
So, and then I thought that it was very interesting because, she talks about if everyone thinks you're the bad guy or, chances are you are. But Macaulay Culkin's just like, well, good is not a meaningful vector in history, only strength. And I think not only that, it's who gets to decide who's what good is defined as? Like, what does good even mean to certain people? I
And
always
usually it's the victors who get to decide that.
100%. And it's interesting because I always have this debate with people about like The Walking Dead. And because I'm like a huge Negan girly for obvious reasons, but it's sort of like my biggest argument about Negan versus Rick, to me, it's like they're the same person. They're both heroes of their own story. And so the only reason we empathize and we want Rick to win is because that is the person who we've been following for, 4 or 5 seasons. We haven't been following Negan. We don't really know like what he's had to deal with as a leader, but he's clearly kept his, group, safe. So when you have Lucy, who again can be very judgmental, um, for obvious reasons and for good reasons, it's sort of like again that morality that she was raised with. You can't really apply it to the wasteland, you know?
Yep, I agree. And
Yeah.
it's like this the wall she keeps coming up against here
Yeah.
is constantly attempting to apply the morality that she was raised with to a place where it doesn't belong.
Yeah. Exactly. Like she's trying to get everyone else to conform to her worldview instead of stepping back and realizing, I don't agree with this, but I understand why this particular worldview is, applied here or here or here. Um, so anyway, so we get over to the ghoul and he's talking about poor Cooper. He's just like in so much pain. And like I just love Goggins' reactions because it feels so genuine and authentic. Not like
Right.
some dude gets some poison in him and he's like, like it's like he's like, oh fuck. Like you can feel the pain. Like I'm just
Right?
yeah, I would be saying all of this. Like when he's what did he say? He said something like "fuck off, sweetheart" to the fucking rad roach. I died. I was like,
Yes.
so, like he's talking about how about a boat that's not a boat? You know what I mean? Of course you
Mhm.
do. You take out one plank, boat's the same as it ever was. It's just got a hole in it. That's all. You take out a lot of planks, and all of a sudden you got yourself da 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 da. What the fuck am I even looking at? That ain't no boat. It's just a pile of wood, man. It's just a fucking pile of wood. What do you think he means by this? Like, why do we have this dialogue here? What is Cooper trying to say? What do you think?
He's talking about himself and like becoming more and more and more ghoul,
Yeah.
and like like literally as he's cutting this poisoned flesh out of his leg from the rad scorpion, and that's the hole in the boat is very literal in that moment.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think he's considering his own ghoul eventual mortality, maybe,
Do you
and like
No, go ahead, sorry.
weighting himself with the eventual like pile of wood is where he feels like he's going to end up, is
Do you
what I'm getting out of it.
do you think it has anything to do with what Lucy told him about you're going to sit here and think about the consequences of your actions? Like, because if you think about it, their whole conversation leading up to the hospital was, why are you like this? You have a family. Are they going to be proud of who you've become? And it felt like to me when he's talking about the boats that he's like, you start removing bits of yourself or you start having to do certain things to survive, you can still tell yourself you're still a human, you still have your humanity. But at the end of the day, when you've crossed this line of what's acceptable and what isn't, when you completely throw out your morality, what are you even looking at? Are you even human at this point? And like you said, that change from Hollywood silver screen actor all the way to, Ghoul, he's a monster, quote unquote, on the outside, and it's finally reflecting on the inside. Like, I don't know if that's just me being too shipper-y, like that Lucy is making him think of things like this, but I also think that based on what the actors have said in terms of we need to figure out like Cooper needs to get his humanity back. And so I'm curious like if he's actually as he's cutting like gouging out a part of his thigh, like if he's genuinely doing what Lucy said and thinking about the
I think he
consequences.
absolutely is,
Yeah.
considering the way the rest of the episode and,
Yeah.
all goes. That's absolutely it. And can we just talk about how poignant and that moment was when he's talking to dog meat after this moment? And
Yeah.
like I had literal tears in my eyes. Like that moment was so beautiful and it like just makes your chest ache in that very special way.
Yeah. Well, and because you can feel his pain, and it's not just the physical poison, because he says, like, I don't know what I'm telling you all of this for. I know you already know this. It's just been a while since I had someone worth talking to. And
I
what
love so much that it's dog meat. He feels like dog meat is worth talking to. I just my
well,
heart.
what's interesting is if is he really thinking about dog meat, or is he equating this to Lucy? And now that Lucy's gone, because the flashback that happens right after this is him and Barb. And since we know that he sees Lucy as a version of himself, but also as a version of Barb, I'm curious, like, if, he's so annoyed by Lucy and her talking about Charles Dickens and morality and all of that. But now that she's gone, he literally is talking to Dogmeat about some kind of morality that I am positive he's not talking to Lucy about. But now that he doesn't have her to talk to, it almost feels like he has to it's almost like without Lucy he has to tell himself this in order to hang on to that tiny sliver of humanity he has left, whereas when Lucy's there yapping about it, he doesn't necessarily need to get this vulnerable because she's already telling him the things that he already knows. I don't know, does that make sense? Do you get what I'm trying to
It
say?
does make sense. And like it does show like how much work she's doing.
Yes, I agree. um Yes, I agree. So then we have, and this scene kind of got me. Like it did, like again, it did kind of get me, like where, she's trying to get the stuffed animal in the keepsake box for the vault.
And
And
that got me in my feels about Barb and that like I'd have to applaud the writers because that's really as much as I disliked her from season one, that was really hard to do.
well, because I think we've all been there, like when we're packing up something for our kid, we don't want to leave anything behind, like we want
No.
to make sure they have their special toy, especially in a situation like this. Um,
And
and
with the kind of packer I am, which my husband complains about 24/7 anytime we go on a trip like we just did to Michigan. I am an absolute overpacker and like I get where Barb's coming from right here because I'm very much a just in case, what if we need it? What if like that kind of person. So like my suitcase is physically bigger than me. Like it's massive.
um, and I just think I think it was really interesting because Cooper basically comes back with, well, we may not have to, right? Like we may not have to leave anything behind, but Barb doesn't respond. And I feel like when Cooper sees that Barb doesn't respond, he pulls away. Because now
Yeah.
he's like, I've got to go do this thing for Charlie, which is interesting because Cooper from season one, before he realized what Barb is planning to do, he would have stayed, he would have comforted her, he would have hugged her, he would have done, he would have been soft boy Cooper Howard. And I feel like you're already starting to see how he's looking at her differently and how the relationship has shifted, um, based on what he overheard. And again, like it's funny because I was watching this again with my husband yesterday, and he was like, I really hope they don't make her some kind of victim in this, or they try to make it seem like, like I think that this scene right here is perfect because she's still tied to her decisions. I don't want her to have the little fucking thing on the back of her neck. I don't want her to be in a position where she was forced to make this decision. I don't want Barb to be a victim. I want
I
her.
like Barb as a bad bitch with
Yeah.
agency who
Yeah.
made this fucking choice for a reason because she thinks she's doing the right thing. And that's the thing in this show. Every single character believes that they are doing the right thing or the best thing
Yeah.
for themselves
Yeah.
and
Or
for
their
the people that
families.
they care
Yeah,
about.
absolutely. And so that's why I don't want it to turn. This is going to be like really terrible. I mean, I don't want Cooper to get a happily ever after with Barb. I don't want him to, and it's not even because I don't like it. It's I don't think Barb has earned that. And
No.
I don't think it would, I think that it would disrespect the entire journey that Cooper is going on.
Yes, it would at the bottom, at the heart of it, it would just be disingenuous.
Yes, I agree. Like, yeah. Okay. So anyway, so we move on from that scene, and we see Cooper talking to Charlie about, Robert House, and Charlie's saying, all I heard is that he's building some kind of weapon system in Vegas. Our intel thinks it's connected to what you heard Barb talking about. So there is already an assumption that Robert House is building these weapons, possibly selling them to Vault Tech in order to cause the destruction of the world. Um, so what's interesting is that we're only getting one side of Robert House. And if you're a writer, if I'm a writer, I mean, I am a writer, you're a writer, but like, what if Robert House is not the bad guy? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, we're supposed to
Right?
believe that he is. But like, what if he's not? Like, what if he has all of these weapons and he wants to save the world, right? Or like, because I just think as a narrative device, like it's like in a mystery. Everyone's assuming these terrible things about Robert House, but we don't actually have any evidence. We're just listening to it through third party, which is obviously um unreliable narrators, possibly, And so it's just it would be very interesting if there was a twist of like, no, Robert House is actually a good guy or something like that.
I would love that. And I think it would give him a lot more dimension.
Yeah, well, because remember, we're getting this information from Moldaver, and she has her own reasons for wanting all of this information, like, and that's what I like about the show is that everyone's hands are dirty. And everyone is like you said, like everyone has their own reasons for doing stuff. And it's not like good. And I think that's why we see Lucy trying so desperately to fight for her own morals because nobody else really has them. It's all based on how it can benefit them. Whether we automatically think that it's a good versus evil. So like Vault-Tec versus Moldaver, they're both bad. Like they're none of a like in my opinion, it's just it's not they're not good. Neither of them are good. It's like what's the lesser of two evils? So um anyway, so I just, like there's this conversation with Cooper and Charlie, and Cooper's basically like, do you know what your boss wants me to do to him? And there's kind of a look, and that goes between them, and Charlie's like, well, I didn't know. And he's like, look, I'll help you. I'll do whatever you can, but there's gotta be another way.
Which is the loosest thing Cooper Howard has ever said, by
Oh,
the way.
100. And I think this is why he's having these flashbacks right now for obvious reasons. But Charlie's like, half the guys in here have killed people, maybe not the right ones. Robert House is just one person. And it's so interesting to me because it's sort of like we can justify murder. And that's the thing that's interesting. And that goes back to that golden rule or morality or whatever is,
You know what it reminds me of?
yeah.
Shirley Jackson's The Lottery.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's haunting. Um, but it's just fascinating to me because it's sort of like you go to war and your orders are to kill the opposition, even though you're probably the same person, you just have different views of the same kind of coin. And it's just interesting where it's sort of like it's okay to kill this person because of this reason. And it's, I don't know. And so it's like, even though the waste, we have a completely different morality, even before the wasteland existed, you have that same morality even then, where it's okay to kill this guy. He's just one person.
For
You know
the
what I mean?
greater good.
Yeah. So then
It's
we,
very morally ambiguous, which I love.
yes, yes, exactly. And it kind of puts you in a position of like, who do you support? Like, what would you do in this position? And then so we get whoever the actress is playing this congresswoman, like she was perfect. Like her
She
voice,
was.
her timing, like it was just, I felt her. Like she clearly did not want to be there, but she's trying to save, like she's trying to get out there and do what she's supposed. It's, I thought it was the funniest thing. And then they're like,
It
get
was.
on with it. Um, so obviously they're there to honor different vets. And Cooper is just decides, well, now's the perfect time for me to go to the bathroom. Um, and then we see who we're assuming is Robert House. I still don't know if Justin Thoreau is Robert House or if the guy from episode 1 at the round table that says House is Robert House. Um, so I just think who the real Robert House is, it'll be interesting. But Cooper's literally taking a piss and he starts talking to him like they're friends. Like that is the weirdest thing I have seen, but it fits.
We better not be having bathroom stall chat unless
Right.
I have known you for like my literal entire life since I was born.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just let me pee in peace and we can talk when we are not in the bathroom. This is just common courtesy.
Yeah, it's common sense. And like I just I love Cooper's Cooper's line, about like, well, I take it you're not a vet. And he's like, what gave me away? And Cooper's like, because a vet would know better than to talk politics when a man has his dick in his hand, which I just thought, like, the way that Goggins delivers that line, it was just perfect. Like, um, so it's interesting because obviously we have this conversation. They talk about, the Pinko point of view, the communist point of view. And it's interesting because it's like they're saying the communists have grievances with traditional institutions and it's entirely justified. And Cooper's like, I'm not having this conversation. I didn't ask you. And Robert is basically saying, you back a body into a corner and they're liable to try anything, but you back billions of bodies into a corner at the same time. Tisk. Everyone trying to solve the same problem at the same time with a multitude of solutions. Messy, messy. If that doesn't, if he's not directly talking about essentially the whole Vault Tech war, all of that stuff, like Robert House is a lot smarter than if this, like than people are giving him credit for. And it makes me curious. Why do you think he's targeting Cooper? Do you think that he knows that Cooper knows, or that Cooper's talking to Moldaver, or why do you think he's specifically talking to Cooper about this?
I think that he knows that Cooper knows things. Like, I don't know how he knows Cooper knows things,
Yeah,
but I think he is intimately aware that Cooper knows things. And like from the clips we've seen,
yeah,
he has that whole moment somewhere later in the season about like how like information is his business,
right.
basically. And so I absolutely believe that he knows what Cooper's up to.
Yeah. I think it's part of his job to know these things too. And
I can't get over the fact that the man reminds me so much of Walt Disney. It's weird.
oh my gosh. Yeah, I completely agree with you. So Cooper leaves, and then we go back to the Brotherhood, and the Yosemite Elder is talking about the clear chain of command from the Codex. And Quintus is like, look, we can't squander this opportunity. You know, the fact that, this guy's here from the Commonwealth, it complicates things. But then he goes into like almost like this backstory of the rebellion, or of how like the Brotherhood, happened.
Came to be.
Yeah, came to be. And, does he serve his God or his government? He chose his God. He killed the scientists. He shot the people who tried to stop him. His government had defied God, so he defied his government, but he wasn't punished. He was saved so that he could find, this noble order, blah, blah, blah. If our rebellion is righteous, the way will be paved for us. And that's interesting because that is very, very biblical. Like if you look a lot of Old Testament wars with Israel, if God, wants you to sort of basically victory goes to God. God decides, if Israel is winning or if Israel must be punished because of, whatever, in the Bible that they have done to not follow the covenant that they have with God or whatever. And I thought that was really interesting because it clearly moves Max. Like we see we see Max go and say, "Hey, listen, I could I could just kill him," you know? And Quintus like super judges him, like gives him a face.
Right?
And Max is like, "Wait, but that's what we do here." And it really pissed me off because Quintus like is now insulting Max, like, behold the dimness of the sword.
That made me so fucking mad on Max's behalf. Like, fuck you, first of all.
Well, and part of me is like, Max, you got to stand up for yourself. Like, you can't let this guy talk to you. And so he's basically saying if we kill Xander, the envoy from the Commonwealth, like it'll be war. And without the support of the other chapters who basically just said, fuck you, like we're all going to die. But then Max comes back with his own words like, well, if our cause is righteous, like if we're supposed to have God on our side, then it shouldn't matter. And that's like, at least biblically, that's what the Bible says. Like the armies were much more powerful, and Israel, like when God is with them, overcomes them. And that's just Max's point of view. But then we see like I have no thoughts for, or I have no need for the thoughts of the sword. And that's again, Quintus is completely taking advantage of Max and his beliefs because Max is just reciting what Quintus literally just said. And now that it's
Yeah.
being thrown back at him, he knows it's bullshit. He knows that he's completely using this for what he specifically wants. And
Yep.
like I hate how condescending he was to Max, and part of me was pissed off at Max. I'm like, you don't have to take this. You're the one who killed Moldaver. Like you are the golden kid. Like you are the representative of, the brotherhood right now in terms of the warrior. And so I think that's why he really gravitates to Xander. Um, what's your
Absolutely.
what's your opinion of Xander? Like I like him. I'm not gonna lie, I
He,
liked him.
I liked him too. He was funny. He was witty. Like I liked him right up until the point I'm thinking about in
Yeah,
episode
yeah.
4, and then I was like, oh, no, no, let me rescind my statement.
My husband hated him from like he's just like, no, this guy's annoying. I don't like this guy. Um,
Lake said the same thing.
my
Same
husband,
exact
I don't
thing.
understand. Like maybe it's because like I just fell for the charm or whatever. Like I'm just like my husband like knew like without going into it because we will talk about it. But when they go to the building
Hmm.
before my husband knew exactly what building it was. He's like, "Oh, that's the building where this happened." I'm like, "How the fuck did you know that?" I sure as shit didn't know that. And so I'm
Right?
just like, I don't know if it's like a dude thing, but yeah, my husband didn't like them. But what's interesting, at least, and I don't know if this is if he's manipulating Max, if part of him genuinely likes Max. I honestly think it's a little bit of both. But he's
I
saying
think it's a little bit of both, but I read it as heavy on the manipulation for sure.
I think that like he's basically telling Max, look, we're the ones who bleed. We're the ones who decide things with our fighting. We should be the ones who get to make the decision of whether we go to war or not. And your cleric is going to make a mistake. You know, and I really, as much like again, I fell for the charm because I was like, he makes really good points. He's pushing on all of Max's pain points. And to me, like that just shows that Max is very easy to read, which also makes him easy to manipulate.
Yeah.
We see that with Quintus calling him my son. We see that right here with Harkness. Um, and it's interesting because now Xander's talking about, if you ask me, fomenting a rebellion sounds a lot like chaos. I feel like this theme of chaos is in every single story, like whether it's the Maltese and Norm releasing them, and now a bunch of different civil wars, like it is chaos. And it's sort of like, it's almost like, what morality can we live with within this chaos if every chaos is so different? Um, but I love Max. He's just like, well, what the hell do you want me to do about it? Like, okay, that's great, but what do I do? You know? And Xander's like, just talk to me. This isn't the first time that we've been on the verge of a civil war, but if us soldiers figure something out, then we could have cooler heads prevailing. And Max is like, yeah, okay, let's talk. Um, so
I think it was very much manipulation. And like maybe he does like Max a little bit, but I think it was all manipulative in order to get the information that he wants
yeah,
and to get Max in his pocket so he can sway the outcome of how this shit is going to go with this little insurrection.
yeah. Um, so yeah, and then we go back to the ghoul, and he has his little spyglass, his little telescope, and he's looking at her, and he says, "Well, Miss Lucy, how's that golden rule working out for you now?" So what do you think he meant by that, Chelsea? What do you think that line is for?
I think that's a you wouldn't be in this fucking situation right now that you're in if you would have given me the stim pack instead of the tunic.
100%. And also, you saved this woman's life, and look at where that got you.
Right?
Yeah.
Like real
So
productive.
right. And so we see, okay, Cooper notices also that there is a civil war going between the Legion. And he's again still talking to Dogmeat. What do you think, dog? Okay, I love this and I want your interpretation. He
Okay.
says, "What? Don't look at me like that. I don't like her either, but we're going to need her down the line." So what do you think he means by that? Like, it I don't know. It almost came across like you're protesting too much about liking her or not. Like,
It absolutely read that way to me, like, methinks the lady doth protest too much.
yeah, like, and when he says we're gonna need her down the line.
I think he's convincing himself that he's going to need her down the line as a way to justify rescuing her
Yes.
instead of going after Hank himself right
It's
now.
it's an excuse. It's an ex like he needs to say it. Like, it's like I do this all the time. Like I need to tell myself things out loud to make me okay with making a decision. Like he needs to talk it through himself. He needs to say I don't like her because he needs to hear that he doesn't like her, and he needs to give himself a reason to go save her. Um just
I will be using this device myself in one of the later hockey books.
yes. But yeah, it's like we just need that. And it's interesting, like, okay, he's like, I ain't going up against two legions in one afternoon. We need some help, and this is about the best place to get it, or it used to be anyway. Okay, I know this seems like such a subtle thing, but I feel like Cooper asking people for help as the ghoul, it, it to me, like, I feel like that's a big deal.
It's a
Like,
huge deal.
yeah. Um, okay, so this whole conversation with Victor. Chelsea, explain the world building here. Is he going to who is this? Is this the NCR that he goes to? This building that's
I think
completely empty?
Victor is I'm not sure, like, because I've only played Fallout 4,
Yeah.
and like the through line I played had nothing to do with that. So I honestly, on the world building there, I'm not entirely certain like
Okay.
who Victor is. I feel like it's a personality that he knows either from his time in New Vegas or it's like similar, like the personality was based on somebody he knew,
Yes.
like the guy who was the voice of Codsworth
Yes, yes.
for the Mr. Handy bots, you
That's what I
know?
was thinking. Yeah. Well, he says, I gotta save a dipshit Vaulty from the Legion, which I thought was so funny. And then he says, I came here hoping to get some help from the NCR. So I'm assuming like maybe this was a place where the NCR was, but then Victor
Yeah.
comes back saying the NCR, I ain't seen him. So I don't know. Like, I don't know if this is a place to get to the NCR or if this was a place the NCR was. But the ghoul says, who's running these parts these days? And he says, well, you know how it is around here. The NCR and the Legion are going at each other like cats and dogs. So now we got the Legion fighting the Legion like cats and dogs too. But you know what they say in Vegas, everyone's a winner eventually.
It's
And the
that
ghouls,
reads very New Vegas time to me
yeah,
there.
And the ghoul says the same goes for losing in my experience, except for one man, the man that built you. Where is Robert House? And Victor says he's gone. He had all the money in the world, but all he really wanted was to live forever. Life just ain't fair, I guess. Um, so he says, well, typically I would agree, but you should know better than anyone that House had a knack for planning ahead. And Victor said, oh, he had plans all right, but he needed the cold fusion doodad from before the war. Didn't you have something to do with all that way back when? What is he referring to here? Is
I
it,
think
yeah.
alluding to maybe Cooper finds a way to stop Barb from giving
Mm,
House the cold fusion thing that Moldaver created.
okay.
But I don't know like how exactly that's going to play out yet and if I'm right or not.
Well, and to your point, the fact that Victor would even allude to that has to say that he knows who Cooper was before the war.
Yes.
So, and nobody, as far as I know, nobody knows who Cooper was before the war. So
Right.
this had to be, and it clearly Robert House built this guy. So whether that means he just means the machine and he put a brain in it, kind of like Bud Askins or what, I don't know. Um,
Right.
so, um, So basically, Victor's like, okay, are you leaving? Ain't nobody around here to keep poor Victor company these days, just them rangers up the hill. So, rangers in the hills, the ghoul stops, obviously, and Victor says, well, you know how it is. The NCR and the Legion, they can't stop fighting like cats and dogs. So the rangers, I'm assuming, are part of the NCR, right?
Yes.
That's what okay. Um, so after that, we go back to Xander and Max, and again, it's that fun, it's that manipulation. Um, they're just hanging out, being some dudes, like, and again, you have that. I like Xander. He seems like a chill dude. I think Max is also very much like Lucy in that, he's very cautious with people at first, but if they can easily manipulate him, he does want to trust people to do the right thing too. Um, so yeah, they are just hanging out, and I love Xander saying like, "Hey Maximus, can we just be hard dick for a second?" I was like, "What the fuck? Like, do
What
guys
does that even mean?
yeah, like do guys talk to each other like that? Can we just be hard dick? Like, what does that mean?"
I need a translator. I'm sorry. I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, I was just like, okay. So, Xander then goes into like, unless Quintus gives me that relic, we're going to war. Um, and you're pretty good, but I'm pretty good too. And if I just go with, if I go home with the relic, we don't have to have this war. Um, and so he's insinuating that if the Commonwealth falls, there's not going to be much civilization, which is interesting because I feel like Quintus basically said that for the Brotherhood too. Like each civilization thinks that if they fall, then the rest of civilization is just going to completely die out. And I don't think that that's true. I think that
Right.
civilization will continue, to happen. Um,
Absolutely.
so Xander's basically saying it could get worse out here, and then the machine starts going crazy, and they pick up power signatures in a complex nearby, unauthorized automated activity. Um, and again, Max is like, why do you care? You're 2,000 miles away from your own home. And then Xander says, we're the Brotherhood of Steel. We keep the wasteland safe. That's what we do. And again, it's like you can't pick and choose when you're the Brotherhood of Steel and when you want power for yourself or when you want to do things your own. I just thought it was a really interesting sort of like, when do you wear the badge and when do you take it off kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Hmm.
they go, and then we go back over to the ghoul, and we see him with the NCR. And I loved the NCR. I think they were kind of weird, but everyone's weird in the wasteland. And
Yeah.
it's clear that Rodriguez knows the ghoul. Like they have had dealings with each other in the past. You probably positive ones. If Cooper feels comfortable going over and talking to them. Um, but so we have they're talking about this school and the NCR go way back. And Cooper starts laughing. Poor Biff, he thinks that there's gonna be a war any day now. Um, oh my gosh, when Cooper's all like, you guys might want to drop the nuke because y'all looking dusty as hell. I died. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was like, that's interesting coming from you, Coop. Like,
Right.
I just I just thought that was really funny. So then they say, okay, well, it's just us. We've been cut off from reinforcements for more than a decade. Guess time takes a toll on some more than others. Um, and then when Shady Sands fell, we had a battalion out east. We could still get to them. And then the ghoul points out that was over 20 years ago. But Rodriguez says the Legion has us boxed in. We lost touch. She basically wants his help to contact them and to let them know that they're still out there. And the ghoul's like, look, I came to the NCR looking for help. Because again, it's that humanity of the good guys are going to win. That is just what he assumed. Um, and she's insisting we are winning, and Cooper's like, if this is winning, I don't even want to see what losing looks like. Um, and it's interesting because then Rodriguez says, please, the stuff we fight for, clean water, schools, rights for folks like you, ghouls, story has it you used to believe in those things too. And again, how does she know? Like,
Right.
do people know who Cooper is? Um, or is she just making an assumption? But clearly the NCR and Cooper have a history, so how much of this is like passed down and what kind of history is it? So Cooper's just like, nobody's coming. There's nobody left. When something's dead, it usually is because it deserves to die. And that's it.
I love that. That's a perfect setup to make us think one thing and then he does another. It makes me proud and I'm
I
very
had to watch it twice before I understood what happened. I'm not gonna lie. And once I did, I was like, okay, because I was kind of worried. I'm not gonna lie. Um, but then we go back to Xander and Max, and they're just doing some dude shit in the fucking complex. Like they're fucking
right.
things up. Um, I love that it's like a massage robot mixed with a security guard robot. Like it was the
Right.
funniest thing. Um, and yeah, so like they fight that, and it's like they're bro bonding, like again, we get the bro bonding, and that's basically it. And then we go over to Lucy, and her face is red, her lips are chapped. She's clearly been up there for a few hours. Um, but when she sees the ghoul, I thought for a second that she was imagining him. You
I
know,
did too. I thought she was hallucinating.
Yeah, I thought that she was hallucinating. And that again, it would have been one of those lessons of like, oh, he's not coming to save me because I fucked up kind of thing. But then we see the ghoul and he's like I'm curious again, why do they just let the ghoul in? Like, why do they take him all the way in? Like,
Right.
I mean, maybe he has information, sure, but why would they trust him? So the ghoul's like Awe or whatever the fuck y'all say to each other, and then Mackay Culkin's like, okay, well, you claim to have information for Kaiser. I love that both Lucy and the ghoul like are little shits and point out how stupid they are by not pronouncing it Caesar. Um,
Right. Love that too. I like that was some solid couple solidarity telepathy moment
oh
there.
yeah, like yeah, and then Chelsea, oh my gosh, when he was like, I give you something you want, and you give me something I want. Like the way he said like that line, I was like, am I in a dark romance novel? Like what is going on here? Like I was just, ooh, Cooper.
Made my little dark romance girly heart very happy. I'm not gonna lie.
Um, like the way he says he want, like he didn't have, like, come on,
He
right?
didn't have to say it
You
like that.
didn't have to say it like that. Like he did not have to. If he if he doesn't like Lucy, like he told Dog Me and is just using her, he could have just said, "I have information and I want the girl back." Or so he does not have to say it like that. He does not have to say it like that. But that's just me wearing my shipper goggles, but it's the way that he
Right.
delivered it was too much. It was too much. Like that is not, ugh, it was possessive. Let me just, anyway.
Yes, and it was deliciously possessive. It made my
Mm.
heart happy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes. And then Mackay Culkin's like, okay, we could just put you up on a cross. And the ghoul's like, well, you could do that, or you could exterminate the last holdout of the new California Republic. And I genuinely thought he was going to turn over, the two.
I did for like 2 seconds. I
Yeah, I
did.
didn't. I thought that he genuinely was going to do it. So then we have Charles, and he's going into this really nice speech about Cooper. And it's again, it's that manipulation. I think Charlie right here is manipulating Cooper. Um,
Absolutely. A
because
thousand percent.
yeah, and he's saying like, like we like to tell about stories that we did out there, but not all of them. Some of them we can't tell, but the ones we do tell, we tell them to make us feel good about what we did, to give us hope when it was all for the right reasons, but we're just Marines. We don't get the privilege of knowing. We just had to go off what they told us. They they told us that it was all on the line, fate of the whole free world. With the stakes stacked that high, we didn't get much choice. And I guarantee you, the guys on the other side got told the same shit. And then it says, at the end of the day, we just gotta hope that we bet on the right side, the side that protects the people that you love. Because if it did, I guess that's worth doing pretty much anything, even something bad. He specifically says that because he's trying to get Howard to go and kill Robert House. And
Yeah.
I thought that was really fucked up of him because it's like Cooper Howard, even
1,000% it was.
yeah, before the bombs even drop, Cooper Howard is still trying desperately to do the right thing. And
Yep.
he wants to think that his wife is doing the right thing. He wants to believe in her. But he knows that it's not the truth, and he wants to do the right thing, for Janie and for all of these people. And I just like, but what was so interesting is during that speech, it cuts to current day Cooper Howard rescuing Lucy. And so
Right.
Chelsea, tell me your interpretation of that speech with the ghoul's rescue of Lucy, and like what do you think's going through Cooper's head right now?
I think the speech, like Charlie's speech as a whole, is completely a psychological operation
Yeah.
on Cooper to get him to do what he wants him to do. But hearing that speech in this context is supposed to make us believe that he's actually going to turn over those NCR guys
Yeah.
and give the Legion their location for real and not do something about it to prevent them from going after the Legion. That's what the intention is there for, is to lead us in that direction.
Well, and also too, like that again, Cooper is in that same position of I have to do something bad for the right reasons. And so I have to give up these two people because I am betting on Lucy. And that is essentially his choice. He had that choice. But Cooper
I
is,
love that he's smart enough to find a way not to fuck over the NCR people.
so do you think that he tells them where the NCR people are, but he just causes the explosions? Or what do you like? How do you think that kind of happened?
I don't know whether he gave them the actual location or not, or gave them a false location,
Yeah.
but I think if he did give them the actual location, he is counting on the Legion to wipe each other out
Yeah.
before they go after the NCR.
Well, because my thing is,
And I think he trusts those two that are left of the NCR to be able to handle themselves with whatever does come from the Legion once they're done tearing each other apart, if anyone is left at all.
well, I think that, yeah, I agree with that. But my thing is like, why would the Legion just automatically believe him? Like, what did he have to do to prove himself? Because some random ghoul who wants some smooth skin, Like I
Is it
don't.
his reputation as a bounty hunter, maybe?
Maybe. Actually, I would believe that if they put it more on the page for that. If they were like, "Oh, I've heard about you. You have a reputation." Like if that was what happened, I would believe that and I would be fine with that. It just felt so weird.
Yeah.
It
That
just
was
felt
the
too
assumption
easy.
that I made in my head.
Yeah, it felt too easy. But I also liked, okay, so for the speech, like to me, obviously we see the lighter, we see the explosion. And I loved the part because he helps her up, but he doesn't carry her out. And I think that that's giving her that autonomy, but also that dignity of she's going to walk out of that compound. She doesn't need his help. She's going to get that dignity to walk out, even
Under
though,
her own power.
yeah. And we see Lucy eat a little bit of the humble pie by saying, thank you. And I think it kind of shocks the ghoul that like he
I
kind
think
of,
it does.
yeah, like he kind of stops and looks at her and he's like, well, don't thank me yet. Um, you know, and then it kind of flashes back to Charlie and he's like, this is for you. He hands him the lighter and he's like, they gave that to me for saving a man, not for killing the three it took to do it. And again, you get that insinuation of he sacrificed the two NCR people for Lucy. Um,
Right.
because then you have the ghoul say, maybe this was a mistake. Why do you think he says that? Why do you think he doubts himself? Because that sounded genuine, like he's questioning his decisions. Why do you think
I
he's,
think I think possibly the reason that he said that is because it's an attack of conscience and he really did give the Legion people the location of the NCR people.
yeah,
And it's a fit of conscience, thank you, tongue. Um and he's worried that not enough of the opposing factions of the Legion are going to kill each other off before they go after those NCR Rangers in the hills.
yeah. Um,
That's the way I read it.
and then Lucy's like, well, why? What did you do? And the ghoul says, I don't know, maybe something good or maybe something stupid. And to me, that was like, did I bet on the right person? And that whole mentality of the doubt, the hesitation, to me, that is proof enough that he does not just see Lucy as an ends to a means. Because if that, or means to an ends, because if that were the case, then he would sacrifice the NCR for his family without any guilt because he's doing it for the family. The same way Hank thinks that he's doing everything that he can for his family.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like him doubting whether saving Lucy was the right thing or not, to me, that says that no, this is deeper than just I need her to get to Hank or I need her to find my family. Because if those are his intentions and those are his motivations, those are two very strong motivations where you are willing to sacrifice what you need for your family to get to your
Absolutely.
family. And so when he hesitates like that, to me, it's sort of like this flicker of vulnerability of, oh shit, I don't know if I made that right decision at the end. And I feel like he's picking Lucy not necessarily because she's a tool, but because he is good and that she does represent all of the things that he used to be and he does still have hope.
That humanity.
Yeah. And so I feel like, and maybe to a degree, he's keeping Lucy. Like if you just look, if we take a step back, right, and we're trying not to like put our shipper glasses on or whatever. And I know we've already kind of touched on this in previous episodes, but it's like Cooper doesn't actually need Lucy to go after Hank. He's too good, he's too knowledgeable, he knows the world. Like he doesn't have to do that. And
Right? Like hyper competent.
yeah, and I feel like he would know Hank's pain points to get him to give up either Barb and Janie's location or, whatever else he wants to get from Hank or to find his family or whatever. I don't think at this point, I don't even think he needed Lucy when they left. You know, like maybe he thought that he did, but 2 to 3 weeks into this, I don't think he really needs Lucy at this point anymore. And because technically speaking, like look at how he was able to manipulate the Legion. Look at how he was able to go after the NCR. Like I don't think he needs her. And I think that at this point, he is taking Lucy on this trip to just understand the truth. I think he needs to tell the truth about what happened, and like he needs her to see it for herself. But I also think that he chose her. Like he chose her. He made a choice, he chose her, and essentially he chose her because she's good and she's hope and she's, she has these beliefs that he doesn't necessarily agree with. And that to me is why we see this speech and we see, this hesitation and this doubt of did I make the right choice? Because if this was just for his family, it would automatically be the right choice. I would have no problem if I'm trying to find my kid in this fucking wasteland. As shitty as it would make me, I would have no problem sacrificing who I needed to sacrifice in order to get my kid back.
In
And
a heartbeat.
and
In a heartbeat.
and Cooper has always been that way. Like that is his drive. That is what he's trying to find his family. But now being around Lucy has made him doubt not necessarily that he wants his family, but is this the right way to do it? Is this the right thing? And I genuinely think, and especially going into episode 4, I genuinely think that he cares about her and that
Absolutely.
it's not just because she's a tool. And that's not me with the shipper goggles on. It's all of the decisions that he's made, the hesitations, or even like Charlie's speech was, uh, to me, a huge point for the emotions that he has for Lucy. And you can absolutely argue whether it's romantic or not, but there is a genuine affection for her,
Yes.
a protectiveness for her, even if she pisses him off like nobody's business. And so yeah, so we kind of that's kind of what I saw, the speech and the hesitation and all of that. And I do like what you're saying, like he thinks that the Legion is just going to destroy itself. And I think to a degree we kind of see that because, and we don't have to go too far into episode 4, but they wake up with the NCR. And like so, and it seemed like the NCR was leaving. So I think that Cooper did tell the actual location, and but he went back to not only get Lucy help, but to warn them, hey,
Warn
just
them.
so you know. Yeah. Um, so anyway, so then we go back to Xander and Max, and it's so cute. Perry is such a cute little ghoul. And he's like, hey, it's just a baby abomination. Hey, where are your friends?
That shit gave me rage issues on a massive scale. Like,
Yeah, I
I was going ballistic for that whole scene.
and it's like he separates, the smooth skins and the other, the ghouls. And like my question to you is because obviously when we go into episode 4, we understand why Max does what he does, but he essentially says he would have killed the ghoul children and he would have they would have forced the others to enlist. But they don't take females. So what would have happened to the girls? Do they just abandon them? Like what does the Brotherhood do if they have children who are girls? Like what do they do with them?
Well, some factions of the Brotherhood do allow women,
Yeah.
but some don't. And I don't know if they would have forced, like, if Xander's branch of the Brotherhood would have like
Oh,
forced
right.
the girls to enlist as well, or would have abandoned them, or like what the
Yeah.
situation would be.
Um, so okay, so he splits them up, and I love Max. This is again, Max is starting to jump in and he's like, "Hey, wait, don't do it. Please stop." And then Thaddeus, my guy, like I love you so much.
Yes.
Remember Thaddeus from season one? He just like wants to run away. He's kind of a coward. And he stands up for these kids, even though he knows the Brotherhood. He knows he's putting his life at risk, but like he does it anyway. And like I love Thaddeus so
That
much.
was such a heroic moment for him, and
Yeah.
I genuinely loved it
Yeah.
so much, seeing him stand up for those kids and be like, "Hey, no."
Yeah, like who cares? They're just kids. And Xander's like, no, they're not just kids, they're abominations, and so are you. And Max is like, no, they are kids. They are like, come on, we don't kill kids. And he's begging Xander, like, please stop. And Xander's like, the codex, again, the codex is clear on this. And without rules, where are we? And that is so, again, it's that civilization concept and theme of like, what are the rules? Who decides the rules? Like, why can
Kind
we?
of a male Steph.
Yeah. Yes. Um, and even Maximus is like, fuck the codex, just listen to me. And Max essentially kills Xander. And it was just, again, it was the right thing to do, but I feel like Max always like gets himself into this shit. Like,
Right. He always gets himself
bad.
backed into a fucking corner.
Right.
And I'm like, damn it, son. Come on now.
And I love it because Thaddeus is like, oh, hey, man. And Max is like, oh, hey. And Thaddeus is like, oh, what have you been up to? And Max is like, I think I just started a war. And Thaddeus is like, okay. Yeah, well, I'm the floor manager here, so it sounds like we both got a lot going on right now. And I died. I like
I
died.
died too.
I
It was so funny.
I just thought that was the perfect way to end, the episode. I loved it because I I loved going from every single story. It wasn't like it was dragging in one place and I was like, get back to Cooper and Lucy. Like I was happy going everywhere.
Yes.
Um so overall thoughts on episode 3.
I really enjoyed it, and I'm not gonna lie, like I cheered when Max killed Xander.
Yeah. My husband was very happy about this. Like he just again, I don't know how my husband picked up on I don't like this dude. I
And see,
don't.
I don't know how Lake picked up on that either. Like I was kind of dazzled by the charm and the
Yeah,
humor
me too.
and like
Yeah, and like, oh,
mm,
look, Max has like a dude bro that he can like be friends with. Like I want Max to have like friends, not just Dane as the conscious. Like I want him to have friends. I think Max wants friends.
right? Max deserves friends.
Right. Um, so yeah, so that's the way that we ended the episode. Um, episode 3, in my opinion, better than episode 4. Like, and then without getting into it, episode 4 was better than like every episode has gotten better. So
Yes.
I'm happy about it. And we have a lot more to say about episode 4 because I thought episode 3 was like full of shippiness, but no, like episode 4 is like hold my beer because
Yes, and it was so good. I loved it.
so let me ask you your obviously just taking into the first 3 episodes. Do you think that Cooper turns over Lucy to Hank at any point still? Or do you think like maybe they make a
Yeah.
plan or what do
I
you
think that we're gonna see a reversal of what we got in episode one.
okay.
And it's gonna be a like shoot the rope moment, but Lucy's the one in the vulnerable position in order to trap Hank.
Oh, that's interesting. And she'll have to trust the ghoul because we
Mm-hmm.
don't really see her trusting the ghoul. We see a lot of the ghoul trusting Lucy, but we don't see a lot of Lucy trusting the ghoul. Because I don't even think she expected the ghoul to rescue her. I think she was more like, I guess I'm gonna have to figure out how to do this kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I like that. If they do that, I would be very pleased by it.
I would
Um,
really enjoy it if we did get that reversal.
um, again, I really want Lucy to be in a position of picking either her dad and Cooper or Cooper and somebody and her picking Cooper. Not because she knows who that he's Cooper Howard, but because she accepts Cooper and his morality. Like she doesn't necessarily have to like his choices, but she understands them. And, and obviously we'll get into this in episode 4 because she kind of changes her tune a little bit when she's under the influence.
Yes.
Um, and so it's sort of like I just I just really I think that Cooper needs to be chosen by somebody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I want
And
that.
chosen for who he is as he is
Hmm.
right now in this moment, not who he was in the past, not for who he might be in the future,
Right.
who he is at present.
Because I think that's why Lucy, um, I think I can't remember if I was talking to you about this or if I was talking to my husband, but we were talking about you know, Cooper and Lucy in episode 2 and why she was so emotional. And it's just like Lucy is desperately holding on to the way that she was raised because if she doesn't have this, then who is she? And she's kind of going through this identity crisis. Um, and so I just think that it's really important that she realizes that again, you don't have to agree with Cooper and how he's handling things, but at the same time, you have to at least trust him enough to like, I don't agree with this, but you're making the decision, and I don't know as much as I like as you do in this context and in this situation. I just really I really wish she would have apologized to him, but
Me too.
I'm glad we got the thank you.
Yes.
And so I want to see a lot more of now Lucy trusting the ghoul. I think that we get a little bit of that in episode 4. Um, but you could kind of argue, well, she's in a very interesting situation about why she listens to him. It's beneficial for her to listen to him. It's not because she disagrees, but chooses to listen to him anyway. So I don't know. Again, I don't need them to necessarily be romantic or get together. Now, what do you think would completely ruin either characterization? I think it's, what do you like, and by that I mean, is there a situation where you'd be like, after all of this buildup, and he makes that choice or she makes that choice?
It would be him getting back with Barb for me. Like, for the sake of Janie or whatever. Like, that would just ruin his entire character arc for me.
I think too, if he if he takes advantage of Lucy in the state that she's in episode 4, and I don't mean in the fun way, I mean like legitly turning her over to Hank. I think that if
Right.
he legitly turned her over to Hank and there wasn't a reversal, like you said, or there wasn't some kind of plan of how they're both going to get out of this together still,
Yeah.
I would be like, if he still uses her as a means to an end and there's no guilt to it, or there's no questioning it or doubting it the same way that he did when he rescued her, I think I would be really pissed off
Yeah.
because, yeah,
That
um,
would be extremely upsetting.
I need them to like the way that the series needs to end. They just need to like go off together, whether
Right.
they're romantically together or not, but like go off and have adventures together.
Right. Like,
Like,
whether they're romantic, whether they're platankers, like,
yeah,
whether it's a buddy cop thing, whatever. I just want them to, like, choose to stay with each other.
yeah, yes. Um, so I'm rooting for what you said. I would love for Lucy. I mean, again, we have that scene from the beginning where the Ghoul and Max have teamed up. Like, so I'm thinking that something happens to Lucy, and I don't know. I have no idea, but like, I don't know. I just don't want them, like, again, every episode is better than the last. And I'm like, can this keep going? Can we get
Right.
it? Yeah, like, I mean, I'm hoping. So,
Hoping too.
any final thoughts for this episode?
Um, Not really final thoughts, but like my question for everyone else is what do you personally think that Cooper was referencing when he said maybe something stupid?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because that could be anything, right? Like him believing in Barb was stupid. Like him listening to Moldaver and trying to, do that was stupid. And the fact that Lucy is classified as it's that I think it's that he made the choice on his naive, like believing the good in somebody. Even after Lucy left him, I think that he genuinely knew she would come back if she could, and that she is good. Whether how annoying she is or whether he agrees with it or not, he is good. She is good, and that is who he's betting on. What I want to know is like what context does that mean? Because like did you save her because you cared about her? Because if you're just using her as a tool, then what you did wasn't stupid. That's where
Right.
my issue is. Like you said, what does that mean? Um, so I guess we'll hopefully find out. We have 4 more weeks of Fallout and then we're
Right.
done.
And then we have to starve for however long until we get the next season.
Have, do we know for sure if it's renewed?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, please God, let it be renewed. I love this show so much, and I would be sad if there are only 2 seasons.
Let's see. Okay, so Fallout season 3 is confirmed.
Yes, thank you, God.
And it's filming scheduled to begin in Santa Clarita, California around May of this year, May 1st, 2026, with a potential late 2026 release to maintain momentum.
That would be awesome.
I would die.
I would
I
be so excited.
would die.
Like,
Oh, wait. Apparently, Amazon's Fallout website is counting down to something. Oh, they're talking about video games. So hopefully for all of you gamers, that works out
right.
for you guys.
Enjoy that.
Yeah,
Mm.
enjoy that. But okay, so we already know Fallout season 3 is happening, and they're hoping that it's going up clearly because every time I go, it's in the top 10 of the TV shows. So
Yeah, like it's killing it, and I love that for us.
for us, yeah, I know. I love for us all of the fucking Ghoulsy shit we're getting, and I just keep as a crack shipper, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the other shoot. Like, how long can we get this? How long?
Right? Like, how long can we get it for before the other shoe drops?
Right, exactly. So hopefully it works out. Hopefully episode 5. I mean, we'll come back and we'll talk episode 4 because we have to. Because what's interesting about episode 4 is that it's the shortest episode of the season and it's the midpoint. Like, that is a
Right?
pretty important
That's
episode.
wild and bold.
But
But so fucking worth it though. Like God, I'm so ready for Monday so we can talk about this again.
yeah. All right. Well, okay. So Chelsea asked the question. Put in the comments if you have any other questions that you want us to talk about or dissect. Feel free to leave those in the comments. Anything else you want to say, Chelsea?
Nope, I'm good.
Awesome. Same here. And okay, guys. Well, it was fun hanging out. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.